everyone, and welcome to another Camera Jabber video. Today I'm speaking with Tom Oldham, who has just won 2 fantastic awards at the Sony World Photography Awards. Hi Tom, how are you?
Hi Angela, how are you? Nice to see you.
Thank you. You must be really delighted. You won the Open Portrait Award, I understand, and the Open Photographer of the Year.
Yes, it is. It's quite overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's actually really, really hard to allow yourself to celebrate it. I don't mind telling you, it is quite challenging in lots of ways because it's an incredible compliment, and yet feels like there's a great deal of luck involved as well. So, you know, there's a balance and a harmony that needs to occur there, I think. Yes.
Okay. And when you're talking about luck, are you talking about in the competition, or you just mean with the whole madness that's going on at the moment?
No, in the competition particularly, you know, there's something like, I don't know the exact number, but 350,000 entries into this, you know.
Yeah.
So not only a mad person would try and convince anyone that it was pure skill and hard work that had got them there. You know, I'm not going to try and claim that. So yeah, let's keep our feet on the ground. I think would be the best thing.
But it is a fantastic accolade, or they are fantastic accolades. And, you know, having been to the Sony World Photo Awards on several occasions and seen the exhibition several years running, it's a fantastic collection of images. So it must be, you know, a real proud moment for you.
It's astonishing. In 2018, I won the portrait category for a series of a project I did called Last of the Crooners on the professional side. But I continue to tell you, walking around the exhibition and going into the open category and looking at it, I thought, well, at least in the professional category, you know, you put forward a body of work with some context, so you can see the series and see how it was formed and the shape of it. But to have one picture that has enough impact, I think, I never thought I'd get a picture in the open category. I couldn't think of one thing that I'd ever photographed that had been good enough to get in the open category. And I didn't have a series this year, so I was really, really keen to keep entering, and I really enjoyed the success of 2018, and it meant a real lot to me. So I made a little selection of a few different portraits, and this one rose to the top, which just is mind-blowing for me.
So would it be a good point to have a look at the image?
If you like, yes.
Well, it is a great shot. Perhaps could you just give us a little background, like who is the subject?
So this is a commission for Mojo magazine, who I very proudly shoot for quite regularly. And this is the singer of the Pixies. He's called Black Francis. And this was an interview this was a shot to accompany the Mojo interview, which is a big sort of figurehead interview in the magazine, and has a full page, black and white, full bleed image to accompany it, which is a great open brief that we have with Mojo. It's a really lovely challenge, and yeah, this is what I turned in.
And I mean, that pose is very striking. Was that just something he did, or did you suggest it, or was it a fleeting moment?
Well, he's a quite distinguishable character. Fans of the Pixies will, of course, know him really, really well. But I had been in the room for up to nearly 2 hours. We get there, we set up, and then we wait for the interview to finish. So we had a 2-hour window, and about 1 hour 40, the interview was wrapped up, and Charles Black Francis came over to me, and I popped him in position. And he's somebody who is very, very professional. He's been in the game for a really long time, you know, 2 or 3 decades more, I should think. And I wanted him to kind of express maybe that exasperation with being constantly photographed, constant media attention, when really we know all musicians want is to either be on stage or be in the studio, you know. And an acknowledgement of that exasperation kind of set this up really, really well, I think. And he completely nailed it straight away, obviously, as you can see. You know, we knew that we had something we were really, really pleased with, you know. And the magazine felt the same, luckily. I sent them in an edit, but there was only one shot for them to use, and it was this one. And I'm really, really proud of it, you know, for that reason.
I think it captures kind of a sense of humour as well as a sense of exasperation and tiredness.
Yeah, that incorporating a sense of humour is really important to me, and it's an element certainly that portrait photographers have to play with humour. And if you get the sense that they are playful or in the mood, or it could be something that will bring a shot to life, then I always want to try and inject that when possible. Yeah.
So tell me about the setting for this image. Were you just in a hotel room or something?
Yeah. So we were. It was in a Kensington Garden Hotel, I think it is, in West London, which is quite a common. So it's on the way out to Heathrow, so it's quite a common location. But one thing I know about it and shooting in all hotels is you just can't guarantee that there will be a location that is right for what you want to bring in, really. And so I tend to take with me background rolls and black drape just to try and neutralize a background when possible. And we walk into this space, and you know, I can tell you, me and James, my friend who held the light on this one, he's an expert lighting guy, and we were just really focused on, right, let's just try and get this tight frame with as much expression as possible and strip out everything else. And that's what the black's about. So and his name's Frank Black, but you know, Black Francis, but okay. We weren't trying not to play on that too much, but yeah, stripping out detail so it's really focused on just the core of the subject, which is his incredible face, is the target of most of my shoots, really.
And have you just used one light?
Yep, there's it's a Broncolor Move Pack on this, so we tend to take battery-powered lighting in wherever we go, so we're not relying on having access to power wherever we're shooting. And there's a Photex soft lighter, small Photex soft lighter, really close to the subject, so it's really soft and quite shaped as well. Okay. So yeah, but and that's quite a common technique with me. Just one light. Once again, you know, you bring more with you, but only ever tend to use one, it seems.
And but you've managed to get some separation between his, you know, his black jacket and the black background just enough light falling on it.
Yeah, there's one of the beautiful. I shot this on an incredible camera, so you've got a huge amount of play in that file. So we were able to lift out that jacket and just create that bit of just enough shape for it to make sense. Yeah.
You're gonna have to tell me what camera it was now.
It's a Hasselblad H6D 100C.
Very nice.
With a 50mm lens, so it's slightly wide, which enables you to get really close to fill your frame. And you know, that's an astonishing camera with as much detail as you want, you know, and you don't get retouchers complaining about those files. I can tell you, you know, that you can take it anywhere. So yeah, really great.
And do you process the image yourself?
No. So what I'll do is do the edit myself and put a guide grade on it, which I'll send to the magazine. They'll choose their favorites, and then I'll send that guide grade and the raw file to my retouchers.
Okay. And was it always going to be a black and white image? Was that part of the brief, or was that?
Yeah, that's probably the only detail on the brief, is that it's black and white.
Okay.
Yeah. For the particular feature, it's a full page black and white image. Yeah. So we're really, and that affects your shooting as well, and how you want to kind of frame and light and the tone of it. And you know, for me, what I really love about this picture, what I'm really honored by, is that it could have been photographed really at any point over 70 years, I think. You know, this could be Truman Capote, you know, sort of 60 years ago, you know. So I really love that it's timeless in its look, and that that they chose it is really lovely. That it seems, you know, it's not modern. It's not modern in that it's not technique-y, especially. It's, you know, a light, a camera, a lens, a subject, and an interaction.
Yeah. I think by having the glasses over his hands, it still gives you, even you haven't got eye contact, you still look to the eyes, don't you? You still kind of got the contact.
Yeah, I feel that, yeah.
And you mentioned it was one of a selection of images, and then eventually you decided this was the one. Were the other images from different shoots? Yeah. So I'll kind of keep a folder on my desktop through the year of just
bangers, really, of just my own personal highlights, you know, that you keep aside thinking, I really should do something special with these. And maybe that's something portfolio or something to send out to clients or what have you, but, and for competition entries, you know. So this is really, really, just an important to, and also just to use that to sort of look over your year and see how you're doing and see the shape of your pictures as time goes on and what commissions you're getting, and just to kind of remember what you've been up to as well. So I'd advise everyone watching that to do that, you know, watching this to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good tip. And I think even if it's actually make a print,
yeah,
you know, to have your best work at the end of the year, or create a book or something like that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's really important to reflect in that way on what you're doing, and just to enjoy it as well, just to see where you're at, see where you started the year, see where you're ending the year, and just all the little evolvements. That should be a word if it's not a word.
It is now.
That occur over time. Yeah.
And thinking about the competition, you know, what is the timeline of entry to finding out you've been shortlisted to actually discovering that? Well,
it's been particularly elongated by this year, to be honest, because it, you know, I really, really feel for the other people in the competition this year, because there's a great deal more winners than just me, and I have got to celebrate it in 2018, and I really, really feel for everyone who's in the competition that won't get the lovely Somerset House moment and the beautiful dinner and celebration, because they really throw some resource at making photographers feel special for this. You'll know, you know, and they really proudly celebrate the photographer, and that a lot of people won't get that moment this year is a real shame, I think. But yeah, that normally happens in April time. So it's been slightly, they let you know slightly before that in terms of your category win, but it was a massive surprise to win the photographer of the year for the open category. Yeah. So that was an astonishing thing.
Did that information come in a letter or an email or a phone call?
Phone call, actually. Yeah.
How many times did you have to get them to repeat it just to make sure you?
I really did. I really did. I really did. I was like, is this one of my mates? Because if so, this isn't funny. It really isn't funny. So yeah, genuinely, yeah, I had to kind of call them back, you know.
I can imagine. Yeah, a very exciting moment.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah.
I won't forget it easily, that's for sure.
So will you be entering again next year? Or for the next competition, I'd say?
No, I don't think I will. Not that I would. I'm sure they would ever pick me again. I really don't think they could. But no, I don't think so. I've had both on the professional side and the open side. I've definitely had my moment now. Oh my God, have I had my moment? No, I won't be. I don't think so. It might be quite hard to not enter. You know.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant competition. The exhibition is beautiful and amazing, and to be on the walls at Somerset House, you know, that's a big deal for anyone. So yeah. No, but no, I shouldn't. I really shouldn't.
So, why do you think it's important to enter competitions?
That's a great question. I feel as though there are fewer and fewer quality outlets for good work these days, and you know, magazines are less inclined to run stories and full picture, you know, full pictures just because they're beautiful. And there are lots of publications that do, of course, but not nearly as many as they used to be. And competitions, I think, you know, take the Sony, for example, it's free to enter and exposes you to a global audience. You know, I had a friend of mine send me a photo of a newspaper in Auckland, New Zealand that had my photo full bleed. He lives there, opened it and just saw my picture, you know, and you don't get that with much stuff. And that's like that's real pride, that you really feel that when somebody shares something in that way with you. And I just fear that there are so few places for quality work. Then I know it's controversial, the theme of competitions, and not everybody ethically agrees with them, and I completely understand that. But I repeat, the Sony is free to enter and gives you the potential of global exposure, and I want that. There you go.
What about in terms of how you approach your work? Does it have any impact on that?
No. You don't shoot with a view to winning competitions. No, definitely not. No, you shoot to satisfy the client or the commission, whatever that might be. So, no, I don't tend to have competitions in mind, really. No.
And with this image, you said it stood out, but at what point did you really think it, was it as you pressed the shutter button, you thought, yes, this is going to be great, or whether you saw it on the computer?
No, 100%. When you did it, you think, yeah, that's it. That's what we wanted. And it was, the magazine ran this picture, and I knew that everything after this shot was a waste of time. So basically that you've got the interaction that sums up the mood and the tone of the artist and your interaction, and it's interesting, it's engaging, it's classic, it's simple, it's modern and it's old school, but for me it ticks a great many boxes. And does that answer your question? I'm not sure. It felt a bit rambling.
And does he know that it's one?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. And it was really lovely. I needed to get their blessing for it, which was quite a nervous moment when really there's a courtesy there, and what he agreed to being in a magazine. He didn't necessarily agree to being in the competition, so you have to sort of ensure that everyone's okay with that, and it came back with the full blessing, which I was so grateful for. I was really nervous about that.
I guess he's an artist as well, so he recognizes the significance of this piece of art for you.
You would hope so, wouldn't you? But also, people are quite precious about their image, and editorially, they don't really have control over what gets used. But beyond that, they possibly do. So one has to be mindful of, just because you love it and it's done well in a competition doesn't necessarily mean anything to anybody else. So you need to play your cards right.
And I guess he might feel under a certain amount of pressure now. Every time he's in front of a photographer, they're going to be saying, come on, do something. Something that will help me win.
No, I do hope I've made life really hard for everyone who photographs him after me,
That's great. Well, I think it's a fantastic image. It's simple, but it's full of humour. Like you say, loads of detail in it, and just a fabulous moment.
Bless you. Thank you. That's really kind to hear, Angela. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, it's been really lovely to speak with you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Is it over? I was really enjoying that.
We can talk some more if you'd like.
Oh, no, I'm sure we'll happily go over it all again. But bless you. Thank you very, very much. Lovely to be chosen by Sony, and I love your kind interview technique, Angela. You're very generous, so thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye.